Hi guys, Hotshot here, and welcome back once again to another video. And today I wanted to go over pretty much just what the fuck is going on with asym games in general. So pretty much what I wanted to go over is like, why in the hell are these asym games just like dying off, sort of? Now the only game that asym game that hasn't died off technically like right now is like Dead by Daylight, because of just the licensing characters that they added. They recently just added Alan Wake, and that pretty much has increased the player base by a significant amount, to my assumption, because it's a licensed character. And the thing is that when they add these licensed characters, they add as much as they can. Like they have Michael Myers, they have Jason, or not Jason, they have Michael Myers, like Freddy, like Leatherface, you know, those characters. I don't know why I said Jason, but I'm like out of my mind. So for the most part of it, the issue with Dead by Daylight, as well as that it has issues, is that the fact that the player base feels ignored. The Fog Whisperer program feels very flawed and kind of pointless, considering that you'd think the Fog Whisperers would have more of a say to it, and in reality they don't. Even if they provide feedback, I don't think the devs would even give a shit about what they would even put in. But the problem with the game is that like the map layouts are terrible with the reworks that they put in a long time ago. The amount of times that they've like made unnecessary changes to a lot of things that makes no sense half the time. For instance, like reworking like Auto Haven maps, you know, that wasn't needed. Changing the UI, which definitely wasn't needed. Nerfing Hillbilly was a mistake. Nerfing Freddy into making him completely pointless to play. Now keep in mind, I loved the old version of Freddy. I loved him so much, but they took him away because he was weak. I wish they had buffed him in his old state, because he was honestly a lot more fun. And majority of those characters got changed because of they were just broken, I guess. But the problem with Hillbilly and Freddy, you know, the reason why they lacked, or they were just so good, is because of add-ons, and they were just, you know, really strong. Like Slowdown Freddy was just really boring to play against. I thought that was good that they took that away. Like, you can give him strong add-ons, but just don't make him completely weak to play. You know, Billy had Instasaw, which was just so obnoxious. I'm glad that's gone. But I think they sort of added it back, which was the main reason why they nerfed him in the first place. So I don't know why they added that back in some capacity. I wouldn't have done that, but I would have said, like, give him something else in compensation, you know. Like, they gave him an unnecessary overheat mechanic, which everyone literally hated. And I've heard from, like, a DBD dev, he was happy about the Hillbilly changes, yet nobody in the entire community was, unless you're one of those entitled, like, Survivor mains who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. From both sides, like, I enjoyed Hillbilly the way he used to be, and now I haven't played against him on Survivor yet, because I have been playing Survivor with friends. I just haven't been playing against Billy as much. I guess maybe the hype for him wasn't like too massive, but I think just maybe it died off when it came out, because I was playing like TCM or Suicide Squad, so I wasn't really like all there for the most part of it. So the reason, like I said, is that Dead by Daylight isn't going anywhere. It's still gonna be like the most popular asym game of all time, unless for some reason another asym game comes up where they have a roadmap, they have content, and they're doing the right thing. Now the reason why as I say that is because recently with all these other games, they've pretty much have just had so many issues where they mess up on purpose, and they, even though they try not to, it's a big failure on both ends. They kind of go one way, or it goes out the other way, not in between. Because half the time, these devs don't have a roadmap, or a fucking marketplace, or anything else to fund the game, to get updates, you know, making money off of shit that you can create. Half the time they make this stuff, it doesn't go the right way, and then they ask themselves, why aren't we doing this right? Why is this not popping off? It's because you're doing the wrong thing that you're not supposed to do. For instance, we've had all these games that have come out and failed in some way because they're not doing the right thing. And then they ask themselves, wait, how come this is failing? Well, because you're not doing the right way of how to market, have a marketplace for your characters, earn rewards, a prestige system to unlock skins or something. You know, it's a vast majority of these gaming companies that just don't understand. They keep thinking, a lot of people keep thinking that another ASIM game will kill Dead by Daylight, when in reality, the other company can learn from DBD in some way. Not copy them exactly, because their formulas aren't working well. They can easily fix it with having to actually, like, learn from their mistakes. You know, when DBD has some ways learn their mistakes. I forget every single one, but I've seen sometimes they have. But that doesn't mean they're the best ASIM game of all time. Now, if I'm talking about, like, a real fun ASIM game, let's talk about Evil Dead. Was legit, in my opinion, the best ASIM game that I've ever played. It had pretty much just anything I've ever wanted. It was just, you know, it was still a 4v1 game, but it had its issues with Saber, and there were just ways of marketing. There were red flags from day one. It had the fun mechanics of just, like, it didn't have enough for Demon, and, like, demons weren't weak. It was just there wasn't, like, heavily improvements to them to make them feel strong. Now, Saber just had these terrible dev streams that they had, you know, the freaking, like, just, it was all over the place. Like, I spoke to a dev myself about the problems with it, you know, with everyone was crying for single player, and then they get single player, and then they still don't like what they get. Like, they're angry at the game wasn't fucking, like, yeah, because the problem with single player games is that they have these issues where you play the game for the longest time, and then you're never going to play it ever again. So what would be the point? This is an Evil Dead multiplayer game, so what's the problem with it? Problem with this game was it had a lot of issues. Like, when they added the prestige system, it buffs the characters, which makes no sense. Even though, if you ever add a prestige system, it needs to be a skin-based focused prestige system. It should not be anything else other than that. Other issues is that it's had its problems with balance. You know, there just wasn't enough mechanics. A lot of the characters that they've added, you know, made up for it. Like, Chet was supposed to be in the game a long time ago, and then fucking, you know, like, he was already made, and then Eric got scrapped, and then, you know, all the DLC timelines didn't make any sense, and it was just a bad sign. You know, this game could have been the best. Like, we were supposed to get Freddy and Jason a long time ago, probably by, like, I don't know, 2022, I would say. Maybe by, like, this year, if the game had still got content or something. But whatever the case was, is that it just didn't have enough to what we wanted it to be. If Saber really pulled through for the game, things would have turned out so much different. But other than that, we don't know what could have been the best ASIM game. Like, we almost got a Stranger Things crossover. We almost got Freddy and Jason. We almost got potentially other crossovers from the comic books. You know, we could have had that in the game. It could have been interesting. I did a Marvel Zombies concept, but Evil Dead, I mean, it's not a dead game. It's just dead in terms of content, but there still are people playing the game, so that shows how much dedicated fans are still playing. So we love Evil Dead, but unfortunately, times change. Now let's talk about TCM, and why TCM has its issues with its own game is because the whole thing of us trying to live or be within the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a fucking crime in itself, because nobody wants to live in the TCM experience. Now, I've said this argument to where it makes no sense why that should be the case. You know, if you're a hardcore Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan and you want to live by that standard, I'm not against you in any way. My personal belief is that I don't think that's a good idea, because in reality, like even Scott Junn said himself, you're doomed to fail. And that's the case pretty much, because in reality, why the hell would you want to live for that? You know, honestly, in most experiences of, like, playing all these games, it has its problems where they look at all these issues and then they wonder to themselves, why doesn't it work? And in reality, it just goes to show that, like, that these devs didn't really understand the problem with it. The problem with this game was $40 base game, just had a lack of content to grind for. Oopsie. And it also had its issues with just the fact that after you reach level 99, there's no incentive to grind. Now, obviously, if you reach level 99, you're just pretty much done. But obviously, if you want to level up crappy perks that have its issues, to know, and problem with that is, like, leveling up crappy perks will take a long time for you to grind. So, I mean, unless you really want to do that and be dedicated to that, there's really no point in playing. Now, obviously, with the amount of times that TCM has struggled, because The devs are very arrogant to a lot of things that the feedback has said. You know, they get kind of cocky with their own way. Like, I feel like half the time, like, them saying no to a battle pass because it wouldn't fit their game is total bullshit. Because it totally can work. You just have to put in the effort to try. And a lot of the things that were wrong with this game is, one, it has no, no roadmap, no battle pass. I know they said they want to be transparent, but like we were supposed to, they said in their first dev stream we were supposed to get like family cosmetics by January of this year or something like that, and that never happened. So what happened there? Did that get scrapped? Did that get delayed? Like, what's the problem? They weren't transparent enough. Obviously, like, there was recently, I saw in a video, there were leaks of the new execution packs or whatever from all the family members, and that was leaked, and we haven't heard anything since then. Now, by the time I put this video out, the new patch for TCM has been out. I'll probably play a little bit of it, but I'm not going to be on that game for a long time. I just want to see how everything feels. I'm going to try out Leatherface and see how the fast start time is, because I actually like playing Leatherface now since he's no longer required to play. And that change to him, where he's no longer required, has been a massive game changer in some ways, because like he's not required to play, so you can just do whatever team comp that you want to do. So it's more interesting to try out team comps that may work or not work. So that way you don't have to sweat so much in every game, because honestly, for the first time playing the game, I was like, Leatherface was just a completely boring character to play for me, because like I enjoyed playing Cook more than him. I enjoyed playing Hitchhiker, because to me it felt satisfying getting kills with Cook, because I just find it fun. Now, I'm not saying like Leatherface was just trash to me. I just felt like he needed more variety in his kit. Like, having it being chainsaw only is just so boring, and I wanted more like his hammer. Yet Wes is like the CEO of this company for gun, and he's like, well, we don't want Leatherface carrying his chainsaw on his back like Ash or something. I'm like, that is like the most pathetic excuse I've ever seen, because considering like when the family members go up the ladder, or when they feed Grandpa, they literally have their weapons on their hips, so what does it matter? So you mean to tell me Leatherface can't just have his mallet on his hip, or to where if he stalls or something, he can just switch and hit you with it? That makes no sense. So I find that a ridiculous excuse. And then, since then, they've gotten a lot of heat because of just how much Danny was still, been a fucking pay-to-win $10 character, and they haven't changed anything. And then the Steam charts have massively have them fall off. And I know Steam doesn't prove the whole player base, because with Xbox Game Pass or whatever, that's the only thing keeping the game somewhat alive in one way. But honestly, I don't know if I have any faith in them anymore, because it just seems to me like they're just like biting like too much like salt in the wound. And anytime they actually have constructive feedback or criticism, they get so angry about it and go on and rage like man-child. So I don't know. I'm in some ways I'm hoping that they redeem themselves, because I do have hope, but it's starting to it's starting to slip away more and more as time goes on, because having to wait within 90 days for a fucking DLC and map is just so pathetic, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm not trying to sound negative, but it's just the fact that I don't know what the hell's going on behind the scenes. So obviously I'm not a dev by any means, so I'm not going to say like, oh, if I was a game dev, I would have done this and this. But I'm just saying the problem with TCM is just lack of content and transparency in some little ways here and there. They do talk a little bit, but I don't know what's going on with TCM. Hopefully whatever they do gets fixed, but I'm just so, over it. I mean, I'll play the patch with some buddies if they want to play, but I don't know what's going to happen with that game. I don't see it lasting for the next 2 years. That's just how I see it. But whatever happens to it, hopefully it gets better. If not, oh well, move on. Killer Clowns is coming. Next, I want to talk about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I recently did a video on it a little bit ago of my first impressions, and honestly, I still have fun with the game. It's a heavy grind to get your characters up there. I think it's worth it. Problem with this game was I didn't like the first part of the story was okay, but after that, it was like the other half of it didn't make any sense. But if you exclude the side mission, or if you exclude the story by itself, and you have a grindy game to grind for, the game is just so fun with the combat to me. Now, I'm not trying to be like a bootlicker for Rocksteady, okay? I like the game for my own reasoning. I like fucking King Shark. He's literally my main in the entire game. I literally enjoy hearing his voice lines. I enjoy the fun aspect of actually grinding a game to earn loot and pretty much just earn my ways of actually, like, earning rewards for the good stuff that I do. Okay? I'm not a bootlicker, okay? Now, I don't agree with Batman's death in this, but it's pretty fucking obvious that they're all clones, and obviously there's been a lot of drama with this game. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm just saying from my own opinions, I think this game is still overhated. Last I checked on Twitch, they had like 7,000 people playing the game when it had like 100 and something thousand, like when they came out, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe a lot of people don't like it, which is fine, which is obvious, but I think from my experience, I think the game is fun. We're getting Joker like next month, and you know, we're doing all these Brainiac boss fights like every month until we get to the final one, and then we probably figure out that the Justice League are all clones because there's been easy hints that they're still alive. So I don't think they're dead. I think it's all just a fucking swerve right now, and everybody's hating on the game for unnecessarily no reason. Obviously, if you didn't like certain parts of the game, totally fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an opinion, but using Kevin Conroy as a plot device because, you know, he died, or Batman died in the game, in the main story, is kind of pathetic. You know, I don't think he would have signed on if he knew Batman was going to die, because I'm sure Rocksteady had no idea, or unless he probably had, they were, like I said, I think they're swerving us right now to a point where the real Batman is alive and they're all clones. Now, I think there are a lot of hard missions to do when you like get to that difficulty mastery that you have. I think the leveling up part is a little bit bland. I think they need to just expand on that a little bit more. There are a lot of problems in the game. There are a lot of bugs and all that. Hopefully that they get fixed or whatever by sometime soon. We don't know when, because they haven't released like any patches as of yet. So hopefully whatever time frame they can do it at, they do the right patch, because it definitely has its issues right now. So hopefully that Rocksteady takes their time with it and they get things right. And I think this game can easily last a few years if they actually get this right. I think they have something planned, and I think they're swerving a lot of people right now anyway. So I don't know what's going on. You know, all these games come out and then they do well for the first part, and then like for some odd reason the feeling of it is that they fall off just so quick. And whatever they do with it just kind of goes to show like what the hell's going on with these games, and are they, you know, especially Asyms, because right now like we're waiting on Killer Clowns, which might come out either March or April, depending, because I'm hearing stuff about an open test soon on March or something, or maybe this month. I have no idea. I think Killer Clowns looks cool, but it looks sort of mid in some areas, but I don't know what they're going to do with that game. So it's a 3v7, so 3 clowns versus 7 survivors, I guess. Sounds like a cool concept, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I don't know what's going on with all these games. They just come out, and then for some reason they're all just dying off for some reason. I hope that's not the case. But yeah, that's what I wanted to go over. Like, what the fuck is going on with all these Asym games, guys? Can we you know, save them? Can they come back in one piece? Can they, you know, do something with them? Because, you know, TCM had something there. I gave them credit. You know, it's Gun Media. They, you know, did Friday the 13th, but I did hear a lot of negative things about them on the game. They like did something with Savini Jason or something, selling stuff under the table. Then they got a lawsuit and got sued. Saber, I don't know what's going on with them. They just gave up on Evil Dead for some reason, and I heard also from licensing issues. DBD's still going strong. It's the only Asym game that hasn't like died off for some reason. They've lost a lot of players in the past, but they've gained them back in some other capacities. I think Suicide Squad will definitely do well if they actually get things right. So, which is hopefully soon by Joker and all the seasons that are coming out with the battle passes. So I don't know. I'm also waiting for Multiverses. Hopefully that comes out soon again. I miss that game so much. But yeah, I'll do videos on Multiverses and other games as well. I just don't know what's going on with all these other games. I'll probably do like a deal or a patch review on TCM probably by tomorrow or Thursday. So we'll see what happens until then. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Like, comment, and sub. And Yeah, y'all let me know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think is going on with all these Asym games? Are they just dying off for some reason? Who knows? Thank you so much for watching, and stay groovy.